This video is designed to explain the differences between the current 2009 version of the Baby's Day system and the new version that was released in 2018. The first difference between the two systems is the control center. You will find that some of the icons are now within different sections. You need to familiarize yourself with the new locations of the icons. The control center is now broken down by daily actions, manage, child specific, development, medical, and business and legal. One of the key differences between the new control center and the existing control center is that you now can only open two sections at a time. For example, clicking on the register and clicking on daily checklist. If you now want to open another section, you either need to click and close down one of the open sections or simply open and one will close. At all time, just two sections will display. This new design ensures that there is not as much data on the screen at one time. You will also see small coloured icons, either red or orange, in the top left hand corner, or here for the red ones in the top right hand corner. The red icons indicate an alert, which is something you need to look into immediately, and the orange icons are advisories, advising you of something that needs to be looked into shortly. For example, clicking on the I sign section shows us that the following children's parents have not yet set up their I sign signature. You can jump directly to sections directly from within the control center simply by clicking on the icons. Red alert icons, for example shown here above the authorized section, indicate an action that needs your attention immediately. Clicking on the authorized button shows us here that we have signatures are required for authorized persons, and also photographs for authorized persons are also required. Then we have some additional information shown here indicating the children that do not currently have authorized persons. It is very important that you use this control center because it tells you everything that is going on your system. Rather than having to go through individual sections across the entire system, the control center will alert you to something that needs your immediate attention or something that's going to need your attention in the very near future. Look out for the orange and red alert icons. If you see an alert icon on a block, simply click it and you will be advised immediately what the issue is. Here for next steps, the following children have next steps added by their parents. Naturally, you would want to go and view the next steps that have been added by the parents and get those added to the system. The newest section that's been added to the system is the live feed. The live feed can be seen at this tab at the top of the page and by mousing over system and selecting live feed. The live feed on the system is going to revolutionize childcare software. We are the only company that has a feature like this anywhere in the world. And the live feed will enable you to see every single action that has been undertaken by any administrator or any parent on the system. It's a fantastic way for administrators and parents to see a rundown of every action that's taken place today, this week, this month, or the last 6 months. The feed will show every single action in chronological order with the newest first and at the top of the page. As you can see here, today a parent logged in. You're told instantly which parent logged in and how they logged in, via the website or via the app. It provides the date and time that they logged into the system. If we scroll down the page, you will see that an observation was added for Lucy Johansson. Liz Adams added the play and explore engagement being willing to have a go observation for Lucy linked to the following areas of learning: PD, moving and handling, birth to 11 months. Scrolling down, we have a general note that was added, the summer craft ideas. A quick message was sent by Liz Adams today. Margaret Roberts, Lucinda Roberts' mum, signed their accident form, the fall at the park. A calendar event was edited. Children's including settings were modified. An assistant registrar entry was added. Dan Chan's vaccination was recorded, with all the information related to that vaccination. Here we can see that Liz added 2 photographs for Harry. Click on the photographs and you can see them in full screen. Click on the Load More button to see more actions that have taken place in chronological order. Dan Chan's parents signed their leaving child form. Here's a copy of the signature and the date and time that they signed. Harry Harvey's parental access was edited. Lucy Johansson was given a bottle feed on the 27th of May at 11 in the morning, and they drank 4.5 ounces. A daily note was added. Liz Adams added a daily note for 4 children on the 27th of May at 15:34. Rachel Overton visited the setting with the date and time, if applicable, when they arrived. Here we see 4 photographs for Dan. Click on the photographs to view the photographs. Here we can see an accident for Lucinda was added. It was a fall at the park, and here's the body diagram shown on the live feed. The beauty of the live feed is that parents will now no longer have to search through multiple sections on the web or on the app to see exactly what has taken place for their child today. Parents will no longer have an excuse to say, I didn't see this, I didn't see that. When parents log in to the web version or the app, the first page that loads on their devices is the live feed. So instantly they can see exactly what has taken place for their child. They can scroll down the live feed. If there's something they'd like to see more about, they can click on the edit icon or the view icon to be directly taken to that section or form. The live feed cannot be edited or modified by an administrator or a parent. Every single action that appears on the live feed remains on the live feed. It's a great feature, particularly for administrators where they have multiple staff. If we scroll up to the top of the page, you will see we have a filter facility. We can filter by action, added, edited or deleted. We can filter by section for every single section on the system. We can filter by child, and we can filter by individual administrators. Therefore, let's say we wanted to see exactly what has taken place on the system for Dan Chan. We simply select the child Dan Chan and click on filter. The system will now only show us every activity for Dan. Here we can see a calendar event. The reason it's related to Dan is because Dan's parents can see the calendar. Dan had a vaccination recorded. Dan had their leaving child form signed by their parents. Photographs were added for Dan. Dan's baseline starting points were created. An invoice was created for Dan, and Dan's account settings were edited. We can also filter just by section. So if you just wanted to see the accidents for children, we'll select accidents children and leave the other filters as they are. Now we click on filter. Now we will only see activities related to accidents. Here we can see Margaret Roberts signed Lucinda Roberts' accident form, the fall at the park. Here's the activity when the accident was added. Here are just activities related to accidents. If you just want to filter by a particular administrator, you can select the administrator from the drop-down box. In this example, we're going to select the administrator Liz Adams, and then we're going to leave the other filters as all sections, and we click on the filter button. We can now see every activity that Liz Adams has undertaken on the system. Observation was added, a general note was added, a quick message was sent. Margaret Roberts assigned Lucinda Roberts' accident. The reason that shows is because Liz actually added the accident form. A calendar event was edited. We know the live feed is a fantastic tool that is going to be extremely useful for parents and administrators for multiple reasons. And this feature alone is going to revolutionise the childcare industry. This is something that is required and has been required for quite some time. It took a lot of design and development to get this in place, but now it's ready and it's soon to be released to you. So I'm now logged in as a parent, and for Harry's parent we can now see all the activities that have been undertaken for Harry on the system in the last couple of days. We have a calendar event was added, we have photographs added for Harry, we have a daily note, we have policies assigned, we have an observation assigned. As stated previously, parents don't need to navigate away from the live feed unless they really want to, because all the information they have is directly here for them on the feed, on the app and on the web version. But if they feel they want to, they can click on the view icon to be taken to the new page to view the actual activity in full. Whilst I'm here on the parent side, you will see at the top of the page we have the control center as we do on the administrator section, and we have a homepage button. The homepage button is the new location for your homepage. It will not appear any longer at the top of the control center. However, each time you make a change to your homepage, to alert the parent that there has been a change, a red exclamation mark icon will appear. So let's take a look at that. What I'm going to do now as an administrator is change the homepage and assign it to the parent. So I just created a new homepage and assigned it to the parents. You will now see at the top of the homepage we have a red exclamation mark. This indicates to the parent that there is a new homepage for them to read. The parents can click on the homepage tab, view the newsletter, and when they navigate away, the exclamation mark then goes. Here you can see the control center on the parent side. It works in exactly the same way as the control center on the administrator side, with the red and orange alert and advisory icons. Clicking on a section with an alert icon will show the parent the alerts that they have for them. Here we can see for authorized person that for Harry we need a photograph and a signature. We're now going to continue to discuss some of the additional changes on the new system. You will see at the top of the page we have breadcrumb links, here showing Home, System, Personalized Homepage. If for example I was to go to Legal Permissions, you will see that the link now changes to Home, Legal, Permissions, Assign Permissions. In some sections you will be able to click on these links to jump straight to a section. So for example, if you were in Daily Bottle Feeds and you were viewing a calendar and you wanted to get back to the bottle feed section, you can either click here on the tab for bottles, here at the bottle feeds monitor, or go directly within the bottle feeds in the menu. You can now search and filter every single main table on the system. Let's go to Legal Permissions and view the permissions on the system. You will see at the top of the page here we have this header that says Filter. This filter option is available across the entire system in every single section. You can filter, for example, permissions or children or any other section that you're in. The filter works across multiple pagination. So here we see we only have one page, but if we had, for example, 10 pages of permissions, you could enter your filter word and it would filter through all 10 pages showing the results. So for example, if I type in the word outing, the system will filter and show us all the permissions with the word outing. This filter will be particularly useful for larger settings with large numbers of children when you're searching for a child across multiple pages. As you've been watching this video, you may have noticed these tabs at the top of the page. These appear within different sections. Here for the Permissions section, you can see we have the Assign tab, Permissions tab, Categories and Groups. Clicking on each of these tabs will take you instantly to that section: Groups, Categories, Permissions and Assign. If we were to go to the Bottle Feed section, you will see multiple tabs at the top of the page. These tabs here cross-reference with the sections shown here in the drop-down: Daily Notes, Actions, Toileting, Sleeping, etc. Clicking on any of these will take you instantly to that section. Every header can be sorted alphabetically or numerically. You will notice in some sections that the title is green by default. This means that that column has automatically been sorted alphabetically or numerically by that column. Therefore, if I was to click on the category column, it will now sort the category alphabetically. You can also sort review date columns and alerts. Mousing over the eye icons where applicable provides you with additional information related to that column. Every section across the entire system has these arrows. These are up and down chevrons. Clicking on these will open and close boxes on the page. Again, very useful if you have multiple rooms or multiple sections and you'd like to minimize the screen to give you more room. Let's go ahead and add a permission now. We're just going to add a test permission. And what I'm going to do now is click on the back button before saving. The entire system now has a warning pop-up should it detect that you have entered text into any section across the entire system and you attempt to leave the page without saving. If you have entered text and you do want to continue to leave, simply click on the Leave Page button. If not, click on the Stay on Page button and save your changes. We are sure many of you will find this feature quite useful. We've added a number of different help features across the system to help you to learn and understand how to use the system. I'm currently in the Baseline Starting Points section and you will see there's a section here that says Baseline Starting Points Help. Click on the down arrow, as by default it is hidden, and you will see some information to assist you with adding your baseline starting points. These help boxes appear within certain sections across the entire system. Be sure to read these to help you to understand how to use each section on the system. Another way in which we have provided you with help is to create help tours across the entire system. We have removed most of the help videos on the system and replaced them with these help tours. In the top right hand corner next to the logout button you will see some text that says Help Tour. Click on this Help Tour when you're in any section on the system. A pop-up will appear and explain to you step by step how each section of the page you are currently on works. Here we can see the first pop-up states the baseline starting point section on the system allows you to record where you feel each child's starting points are across all areas of learning within the EYFS. You now click on the next button and it takes us down to the next tab. Continue through the tabs, reading and learning how to use each section on the system. For some of the more complicated sections, or where we feel additional help is required, we have provided these under the System Help Videos section on the system. There is indeed one for the starting point section. You may have seen that the top navigational icons have changed slightly. It is very important that you familiarise yourself with where the new locations for each section can be found. For example, Children now has its own section at the top of the page titled Children. A lot of sections have been moved into Daily. The Daily section is related to any daily actions, notes, bottles, toileting, sleeping. Legal now contains contracts, permissions and policies. Ensure you familiarise yourself with where the new locations for each section are. Just beneath the main menu you will see this down arrow. Click on this and you will see some quick links to jump through to the registers all the way through to the video section. This drop down can be accessed on any page of the system. The Add a Quick Observation, Next Step and Sample Next Step buttons are still in place. Click on these to add an observation, next step or sample next step. Let's go ahead and add a sample observation. Whatever page you are on, the pop-up will appear and once closed you can carry on working as you were. One change across the system is the way in which you select children. Here you see on the left hand side we have an excluded list and on the right hand side an included list. Any children on the left will not be included within your observation or within any other section that you're working on. So let's say we wanted to add an observation for 4 children, Dan, Harry, Lucinda and Lucy. You'll see now that they've jumped across to the right hand included section. If you don't want them to be included, just click on them and they will move across to the left hand side. We can now add our test observation. You will see that you can still add the characteristics of effective learning to your observation. One main difference between the observations on this system and the older system is that there is no longer a 1024 character limit. Your observations can be any length that you decide. One other major change to the observation is that you can now upload photographs at the same time that you add your observations. To do this, click on the Upload button and select the location of your photographs. You can add up to 4 photographs to each observation and link it to unlimited children. For each observation you can link it up to 4 early years outcomes. And you can add 4 observations at the same time. Therefore, at one time you can add 4 observations linked to multiple children with 4 photographs linked to 4 early years outcomes. Add your early years outcome at the bottom of the observation. Once you are happy, click on the Save button. Your observation along with the photographs will now appear within the early years outcome that you selected for 1 or more children. One other feature that we have added to the system is that we've added a view only page for every single section on the system. Although not particularly important at present, in the future we will be adding a view only administrator access level. This has mainly been added onto the system so that you can create an administrator for an Ofsted inspector and they can then access your system in a view-only mode. This feature will be added to the system later in 2018. Whilst on the subject of administrators, let's go ahead and take a look at the administrator section on the system. Administrator section can be found within Staff Administrators. You can see here that we currently have 4 administrators. There's been quite some changes within the administrator section and it's very important that you learn and understand how the new administrator section works on the system. So let's go ahead and add an administrator to the system. The basic information for the administrator remains the same. Username, first and last name, email address, password and confirm the password. Then we have an administrator access level section. We have default access and then we have select room. The main difference now is that there are no longer 3 different administrator levels on the system. There used to be Master, Super and Room Administrator, Previously, a master administrator had full access to the entire system. A super administrator had entire access to the system excluding the bookkeeping section, and a room administrator had limited access to specific sections that you could not control. That's completely changed now. Now when it says default access, what you are actually doing is selecting the default access for a particular administrator that was on the old system. You can change the default access that is given. So here in this example, I've selected Master Administrator. You will see for each section I have a solid white tick on a blue background. This indicates that every single section within these subcategories has been given access to that administrator. However, if there is a particular section that you do not want that administrator to have access to, you can deny them access to that section. So for example, let's take a look at the medical section. You'll see in the medical section they have complete access to overview, vaccinations, accidents, short-term, etc. You may have decided that you do not want to give them access to the vaccination section, so you simply untick the vaccination section. Or perhaps you don't want to give them access to the first aid boxes. Untick the first aid boxes. You can repeat this process for the entire system and deciding exactly which sections you do or do not want them to have access to. If you do not want them to have access to your accounting section, simply select and deselect all of them here, or select them individually here. One thing to be very careful of, if for example you were given an administrator access to the administrator level, that administrator could actually edit and delete other administrators on the system. So you need to take extreme care when giving access to the administrator section, or for example the access time section, because they could add or deny access for other administrators. We're now going to take a look at the child setup page. We go to Children, All Children, confirm I want to leave the page, and then we choose the Add a Child option. A couple of changes within the Add and Edit a Child page is that the sleep option is no longer recorded in this section, and at the bottom of the page there used to be a vaccination section. That has now been removed from the Add and Edit Child page, because now we have medical vaccinations. We have a complete brand new vaccination section. This contains all the NHS vaccinations that are recommended, and you can add and edit these. And then we have a list of children where we can record their vaccinations. Whilst on the subject of the children, the Departed Children section has now been renamed Leaving Children, and this was changed due to feedback from customers. One main change on the system is that the daily diary and diary duplication features have both been removed from the system. These sections have now been replaced with new sections on the system. First of all, let's take a look at the daily notes section. Within the daily notes section, you can add a daily note for one or more children at the same time, and you can record multiple notes for multiple children on the same day. To add a daily note for one or more children, click on the Add a Daily Note button at the top of the page. You will now see the title has defaulted to the current date and time, and then we have a list of the current children on the system. In this example, we're going to create a test daily note for 4 children. We select all the children, and then we can proceed to add our daily note. You will see a couple of features here that have been brought in from the daily diaries on the system. We have our diary helpers, breakfast, lunch, etc. And we also have the ability to click child's first name and automatically add the child's first name to the daily note when the parent views it. We also have the ability to mark a daily note as pending. So let's go ahead and mark this one as pending. And then we click on Save at the bottom of the page. The system will tell you that your daily note has been saved, and here we can see we currently have 2 pending daily notes. To remove a pending note from daily, simply click on the edit icon, make any additional changes you need to, and then untick the pending option and save. Now each of the 4 children will have received a copy of the daily note. You can see here at the bottom of the page we have some statistical information related to the daily notes for the children. Here for Harry, he's had 4 monthly notes and he's had 9 in total. 27 comments have been left by parents. Dan's had 3 notes this month and 3 in total. To view the notes, you'd simply click on the View button. To view a note, for example the note we just left, simply click on View. You will see here that we added beef burger and the child's name, which is Dan, and the test text that we placed in. You will see that parents and administrators can leave comments. And in addition, any comments that have been added by parents or administrators will also appear in the live feed. As well as the daily notes section, we've also added a bottle feed section and a sleeping section. Within these sections you can quickly and easily add the information. Let's take a look at the bottle feed section. To record a bottle feed for the child, you can add it directly from the overview page. Let's add a bottle for Dan. We click on add, we select the time, and we select the ounces that they drank, and click on set. The bottle feed has now been added. As well as you adding that bottle feed to the system that will appear in the bottle feed calendar for the child, the bottle feed recorded will also appear on the parent's live feed instantly. Therefore, when the parent logs in, they can see the bottle feeds that their child has been given. Let's take a look at the calendar. The calendar displays all the bottle feeds that have been given to the child, along with the date and time, and we have graphical statistics at the bottom of the page. Let's take a look at the sleeping section. The sleeping section can be accessed here by clicking on sleeping or within daily sleeping. The sleeping section works in a similar way to the bottle feeds. You click on sleep to record that the child is asleep. So let's say that the child slept at 2:30 and click on set. The system now shows us that they're asleep because it's asking us to wake them. So let's go ahead and wake them. We click on wake and we're going to wake them up at 16:30 and click on set. The system currently shows us that the child is awake. So let's look at the calendar. Here we can see the time that was just recorded, 14:30 to 16:30. Mousing over the clock icon shows us that they slept for 2 hours. Once again, that information will appear on the feed for both administrators and for parents. We have a new daily action section that enables you to quickly and easily add multiple bottle feeds, toileting, sleeping and attendance register entries. So let's say for example that Dan and Harry both had a bottle feed at 1400 and they both drank 3 ounces. We can click on record bottle. We now have the bottle feed there of 3 ounces at 1400. We can now add more actions. So let's click on add more actions. Let's say that Lucinda and Lucy both had a toileting at 15:45 and we can record the wet toileting. If Lucinda and Lucy also slept today and they both slept from 14:15 until 14:50, we can record that sleep time. If we have another action to add, we click on add more actions. This time we're going to record Harry's sleep time, and Harry slept from 1500 until 1700. You can continue down the page adding more actions very quickly and very easily for multiple children. Once you're happy, click on the save button and all your actions will be recorded instantly into the sleep section, the bottle section, the toileting section and into the live feed for both administrator and for parents. You may have children in the setting that don't sleep or aren't given a bottle feed, or you don't want them to appear in the register. We've added a feature called the included section where you can decide for each child whether they appear in a specific section on the system. It's a simple process of ticking and unticking to show or hide that child in the section. Therefore, if I untick Dan and Harry from the bottles section and also the sleep section and click on save, if I now go to the bottles section, you will now see that Dan and Harry no longer appear in the bottle feed section. This is the children included section and it's a great feature to reduce the children visible within specific sections that are not, for example, given bottles, do not sleep, are not given food, or you do not want them to appear in the register. Another good feature is that you can disable them from being visible within the progress section. So if we untick Lucy from the progress section and click on save, and now we go to the progress section, you will see that Lucy is not visible anywhere in any of the progress sections. Whilst we're in the progress section, let's take a look at the progress tracker. There are a couple of new features within the progress tracker. Photographs now count towards development just as observations do. So let's take a look at Harry's progress tracker. We click on the manage icon and click on view. At the top of the page there's a help section that explains how a child is emerging, developing or secured. You will see now that it says that an observation or photograph has been added will count towards the child emerging. In addition, for developing, at least one observation or photograph assigned to all the outcomes will display a child as developing. The other great feature that we've added to the progress tracker is that you can now save a snapshot. Let's create a summer 2018 snapshot of Harry's progress tracker. Once you've entered your title, simply scroll down to the bottom of the page and click on Save. You will now see for Harry he has this drop down arrow, and you will see that here's our title, Summer 2018, with the date the report was created, 27th of May at 16:57. We can now view that progress tracker. Here we can see the title and the date the report was created. This is a great feature that we hope will be very beneficial towards your setting. On the subject of development, next steps. To add a next step, you can add a next step directly from the next step section, or you can use the drop down here to jump to the next step section, or you can add a next step from the next step and sample next step pop-ups. So let's add a sample next step. You will see that you can now add next steps for multiple children at the same time. It works in exactly the same way for the observation, selecting and removing the children from the list. In addition, as well as adding your next step, you can add the characteristics of effective learning to your next step if you want to. The same process as before, enter your details and click Save at the bottom of the page. The next step will save into each child's individual next steps with no reference to the other children that the next step was added to. Another small change that you may find beneficial is the ability to add multiple food menus. If we go to the food menu section, when you create a food menu for a particular week, you can now select the children that will be included within the food menu for that week. You may recall within the included section, we actually unticked 2 of the children to state they do not eat in the setting. That's why those 2 children do not appear in this list. So if I wanted to create a food menu for Dan, we'll call it sample 1 and add Dan as included within this food menu. You can then proceed to add your meal information. Once you have added your meal information, simply scroll down and click on Save. Clicking on the down arrow will show us that we have the sample 1 title for 1 child. We can then proceed and create another food menu for different children. We only have 1 child on the system that currently does not have a food menu assigned for them, and this is Harry. We would repeat the process, adding Harry into the included children section, adding a title and adding the menu for the child. There are a couple more new sections that have been added to the system. This is the CPD log and the data audit section. Both of these we think will be very beneficial for your business. We've also completely redesigned the galleries section on the system. Here we can see the gallery overview page. Here we have the elephant room with our children assigned. We have a view button and we have an upload button. If you want to upload photos for the child, simply click on the upload button. You'll be taken to a new page where you can select the photos that you want to upload. There is no longer a requirement to use Flash in your browser. We now use HTML5 to upload the photographs and videos. Once your photographs have uploaded, you can rotate them here. And you can add a title and description and change the date. At the same time, you can click on the Duplicate to Progress button and duplicate your photographs to the early years outcome. Now let's take a look at the actual photograph galleries. Clicking on the View icon for a child will show you the different galleries that are available. If you have previously uploaded photographs to the diaries, that child will have a diary gallery. You can bulk download the diary gallery photos and give them to the parents if they request them. If a child has not had photographs uploaded to the diary previously, the diary gallery will not be available as there are no photographs to view. When you arrive at the gallery, you can select the year and month that you would like to view. Alternatively, click on the left or right scroll buttons to scroll through the photographs. If you'd like to enlarge the photograph, click on this icon to bring up the photograph full screen. If you need to make changes to a photograph, just click on the Edit button shown here. You can now rotate your photographs here if you need to. And you can also add a title and description and click on Save to save your changes. If you want to delete photographs, click on the Delete button. You can also mouse over the photographs and make changes to them here. Comments can be left on photographs and viewed directly here beneath the photograph. We think the new photograph gallery is a beautiful addition to the system, and that you will find it extremely useful and beneficial to you and parents. And the final change I want to discuss with you is system colour schemes. We've added a fun little feature where you can change the colour scheme of the system. By default you will find 5 colour schemes: blue, green, grey, orange and pink. If you'd like to preview them, just click on the preview icon to see what that colour scheme looks like. Pink, orange, grey, green and default blue. If you'd like to add your own colour scheme, click on the Add Colour Scheme icon and make necessary changes to the colours until it suits your needs or requirements. I've jumped back now to the live feed to show you that every action we undertook during this demonstration video has appeared on the live feed. Here we can see some photographs, the food menus, a progress tracker for Harry, included settings for children. A wake time was added for children, a bottle feed was added for children, a wet movement was added for children, Harry Harvey was woken up, Harry Harvey's sleep time, Dan's bottle feed, comments on daily notes from Liz Adams, and the list goes on. Nothing is missed from this new live feed. Remember, parents see every action related to their children when the parent logs in on the web, on the app. Remember, you can search through history up to 6 months to find exactly what you're looking for, be it an action by an administrator, an action for a child, or a particular section. We hope you like the features being added to the system. A lot of the features that we have added to the system were from ideas or feedback given to us by our customers. Remember, you can always email us at support@babiesdays.com to give us your ideas or feedback for features that you would like to see added to the system. We already have some ideas that we're going to add to the system over the next year. We don't want to give too much away, but we will be adding support for multiple languages, enhancing and improving the already fantastic live feed, adding the share feature that we discussed a few years back but never got round to incorporating, adding enhanced observation features, which we'll discuss more in the future, the ability to filter the progress section, and multiple statistics for multiple sections across the system. As soon as we know more, we will let you know. Thank you.